this video, we're going to get a little insight on the basic information you need to know about prokaryotic cells, and later in the main course we shall do a comparison between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Now, there are fundamentally two types of cells. These are prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells, and examples of prokaryotic cells include bacteria and other unicellular organisms, and eukaryotic cells include plant cells and animal cells in multicellular organisms like humans. But for this video, I'll talk more about prokaryotic cells, its structure, parts, function, and how they adapted to their survival. Let's get into it. This is a very detailed diagram of a prokaryotic cell, and you can pause the video and study it, or even take a screenshot, because this will come in handy as we go into more detail. Now, prokaryotic cells are rod-shaped, as you can see, and they have a relatively rigid wall. This prevents the cell from bursting due to continuous osmotic intake of water. But the main function here is that it's a physical barrier to mechanical damage. Now, unlike plant cells, prokaryotic cell walls are actually made up of a protein called murin. You should please remember that. Okay, now the cell membrane, just like in eukaryotic cells, it actually serves the same purpose, which is to control what enters and leaves the cell, as simple as that. Cell membrane has infoldings, some of which are called mesosomes. These appear to be a sheet of DNA during cell division. Some books even suggest that they act as respiratory surfaces for attachment of respiratory enzymes. Now, just like the mitochondria in eukaryotic cells, these aid in the synthesis of ATP, which gives energy for the prokaryotic cell to carry out metabolic processes. Of these infoldings form sacs containing photosynthetic pigments, for example, bacterial chlorophyll, which is used by photosynthetic bacteria like blue-green bacteria, which trap light from the sun and carbon from carbon dioxide to make their own food. Now, some of these infoldings, however, are associated with nitrogen fixation. For example, in chemosynthetic bacteria like Nitrobacter, these get energy not from light, but from oxidation of inorganic materials like ammonia. This ammonia is used to make amino acids, and eventually proteins are made. Next is the pili. These are hair-like projections, which are used by the bacteria for attachment to other cells and surfaces. Now, specialized pili form a bridge between two bacterial cells and are involved in sexual reproduction by conjugation. Prokaryotic cells undergo both sexual and asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is more common. This is by binary fission, so they multiply really fast. Our next part is the capsule, which is a layer of slime. This aids the bacteria to stick to other surfaces. It also provides an additional layer of protection to the bacterium. Is the flagellum or flagella if there are more than one, and these are used for locomotion. Okay, now the cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance containing DNA, ribosomes, and other soluble materials. Then we have our DNA. This lies in a region of the cytoplasm called the nucleoid region. Unlike the DNA in eukaryotic cells, which is found in the nucleus, prokaryotic cells don't even have a nucleus to begin with. Nevertheless, the DNA in prokaryotic cells still also codes for proteins and controls cellular activities. It also contains the genetic material of the cell. And the ribosomes. Now, prokaryotic cells have 70 S ribosomes, which are smaller compared to the 80 S ribosomes found in eukaryotic cells. But just like them, they are also sites of protein synthesis. Lastly are the plasmids. These are small circles of DNA capable of self-replication. They contain genes which give the bacterium an advantage. And these include resistance to antibiotics and disinfectants, and etc. Finally, comparing prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotes have circular DNA, whereas eukaryotes have linear DNA. In prokaryotic cells, the DNA lies free in the cytoplasm, and in eukaryotic cells, the DNA is found in the nucleus. Prokaryotes have no nucleus, thus vice versa for eukaryotes. Prokaryotes have no membrane-bound organelles, while eukaryotes have membrane-bound organelles. Prokaryotes have 70 S ribosomes, whereas eukaryotes have 80 S ribosomes. Prokaryotes divide by binary fission, whereas eukaryotes divide by mitosis and meiosis. Now, the cell wall in prokaryotes is made up of murin, whereas the cell wall in eukaryotes, particularly plant cells, is made up of cellulose. Prokaryotes range from 0.5 micrometers to 10 micrometers in size, where eukaryotes range from 10 to 100 micrometers in size. So prokaryotes are much smaller compared to eukaryotic cells. Now, those are the differences that I could come up with. You can go and search for more, but the similarities here are actually very direct, so you can study them by taking a screenshot for later. That is all I had to offer on prokaryotic cells and comparing prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. I hope it has been of some help to you guys. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notifications every time I release new content. Thank you for watching.